Lakers pick up a win Friday night in the NBA Cup against the New Orleans Pelicans. Didn't look great in the game, but again, they did get a victory. So we'll get into that a little bit later. Should JJ Redick and the staff have handled the NBA Cup game differently, considering point differential is a thing, or do we not care about that? We'll get into that a little bit later, the kind of overall feeling of the road trip. But first, let's get to the Milwaukee Bucks. And it's a fitting end of the road trip that you're going up against a tough team because, well, we'll get into the rest of the road trip earlier. We'll get into the Bucks right now. But it's an interesting game with the Bucks not being the same Eastern Conference team that perennially has been there year after year. This is still a team with Giannis. This is still a team with a lot of talent on it, a lot of returning talent. So should be a good test Saturday night for the Lake Show to close out the road trip. So looking at the Bucks as a whole, we'll get the injury report first. Taurean Prince, former Laker, and Kevin Porter Jr., who's a nice wing player for them, will be missing the game. Only injuries for the Lakers are Gabe Vincent and LeBron James. So should be everyone good to go, for the Lakers who we've seen the last few weeks. Adu Thiero was active for the first time against the New Orleans Pelicans, which was nice to see. We'll see if he has a little bit of an expanded role on Saturday night. But looking at the team that we're going to see, Giannis leads the team in points per game, rebounds per game, and assists per game. About 33 points per game, 12 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game. This guy's doing it all by himself. All the rumors are not going to stop about whether Giannis will be traded. The Lakers have been possibly a destination for Giannis. Will he want out? There's a lot of rumors in the offseason that he did. And then he didn't walk him back, but said he was here for this season and ready to lock in with the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll see how long this lasts, though, especially if they're not competing in the Eastern Conference. I think Giannis will be on his way out of town. So Giannis starts and stops with him. Ryan Rollins, a young player out of Toledo who's really taken a step forward this year, kind of come out of nowhere. He's a former second-round pick, averaging about 17 points per game. Been a really nice guard for them so far. So we'll get our first look at him Saturday night. Kuzma, former Laker. Personally, I love Kyle Kuzma. He had a really big night in their last game, which was actually Friday night as well. They'll be playing on a back-to-back as well. They had an overtime win against the Charlotte Hornets. Wild game, not a lot of defense, 147 to 134. Kuzma had a big game in that one. Miles Turner was the big offseason signing to kind of appease Giannis and kind of build out the front court around him so Giannis didn't have to kind of play a hybrid center. Miles Turner averaging about 12 points per game, 6 rebounds per game. They would like a little bit more production, though, considering the amount of money they allotted to him. Miles Turner is supposed to be the guy that was on a deep playoff run with the Indiana Pacers last year. He's been fine. Hasn't really lived up to that billing yet, but we'll see. It's early in the year. AJ Green rounds out the starting lineup at the guard spot, averaging about 10 points per game. Off the bench, this is where they usually make their hay. Bobby Portis is, I've said this before in other preview videos, one of my favorite players to watch in the league. He's just a high-energy guy that you don't usually account for, and then you look at the stat sheet and you're like, how does he do that? Averaging about 10 points per game, 7 or 6 rebounds per game. He's just a do-it-all guy off the bench, and he's the perfect sub for a Giannis or someone like that because there's not a drop-off in terms of energy. There's a drop-off in talent, but not a drop-off in energy coming off the bench. And usually against second-teamers, Bobby Portis cleans up. And to Bobby Portis' credit, he's really carved out a nice role for himself in the NBA and been fine with coming off the bench. He could have been up with like a lot of guys and demanded he go start somewhere, demand he start for the Bucks, and he hasn't been that. He's really been a team player. Bobby Portis is one of their kind of ace cards they got there. Coming off the bench as well, Cole Anthony, from a guard's perspective, averaging about 10 points per game. Gary Trent Jr. averaging about 10 points per game. And Gary Harris gets a little run too, kind of in there for defense. So how the teams stack up, the Lakers average about 116 points per game. They actually average their 115.9 points per game, and they give up 115.9 points per game. So the Lakers firmly in the middle of the pack there on offense and defense. Again, I think the Lakers are much better than the middle of the pack. LeBron coming back, Gabe Vincent coming back, kind of a lot of new faces adjusting. But the stats are showing that they're an average team right now, despite the 9-win record. Milwaukee's averaging 118 points per game, but they also give up 119 points per game. So the defense has not been there this year. Both teams do not rebound the ball very well. So the Lakers and Bucks are in the bottom half of the league, averaging only about 40 rebounds per game. I think that's what this game will actually come down to, is who's going to perform. DeAndre Ayton had a big night against the New Orleans Pelicans, 20 points, 16 rebounds. So one thing to do against the Pelicans, though, is who we're dealing with a lot of injuries. Can you do it against the Milwaukee Bucks, who the rebounding numbers are surprising considering Miles Turner, Giannis, Bobby Porter, but I guess it's just from a guard perspective, they don't rebound. So it's really up to those three. So we'll see if DeAndre Ayton and Jared Vanderbilt can really step up and kind of be the rebounding menaces that we know that they can be. I think that's going to go a long way in deciding who actually wins this game. Milwaukee, the one thing they do really well, they block the basketball. They average about 5 blocks a game, almost 2 more than the Lakers. Again, makes sense. Miles Turner, Giannis controlling the paint. But the paint's where this game's going to be won and lost because you have the Luka, Giannis kind of factor in it. Both guys can carry their team to a victory, but who's going to dominate down low? Because if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, you're looking at who's going to guard Luka and Reaves because their massive weak spot is the guard spot. That's where you can take advantage of them. Damian Lillard not being there anymore. He was brought in a few years ago to be that guy, and then he obviously had some injuries and is now back with Portland. The Lakers got to take advantage of the guard spot, and if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, you're looking at taking advantage of the Lakers in the front court. DeAndre Ayton is going to be crucial in this game. We'll see if he can come through. So look at the overall feeling of the road trip. The Lakers are 2-2 right now. It's been an interesting road trip because their record's 500 so far in the road trip. They haven't really looked good in any game. The Thunder game was an abomination. We got into that last time. Just completely no energy from start to finish. You had the Hawks game, which was terrible as well. No energy from start to finish in that one. You beat the Hornets. Look a little sloppy in that one, but pull away in the second half. Pelicans, interesting game. You come out a little flat. Then you go on a great run there in the first quarter. Have some really big leads in the game, but don't really put your foot on the gas and kept letting them back in the game where you didn't feel like the game was in jeopardy, but enough to where the starters had to keep playing. And on a night of a back-to-back, you would hope that wouldn't have to happen, but it did. So it's a fitting opponent that the Bucks are the fifth team. As I mentioned earlier, they're not the same Eastern Conference team. They're not a favorite in the Eastern Conference. I don't even know if they win a playoff series or they'll make the playoffs, but I don't know if they win a playoff series, but it's a tough environment. It's a tough place to play. Anytime these two get together, it's always feels like it's been kind of a classic the last few years. This is a big game for the Lakers in terms of if you finish the road trip, despite the Oklahoma City and Hawks losses being ugly, you finish 3-2 and go back and the LeBron news that he's coming back next week. They're thinking he's likely going to do a full practice with the team on Monday. I think the Lakers are feeling pretty good at where they're at. Versus if they lose this game, you go 2-3, you wouldn't have played well in basically all 5 of the games. And that's good enough to beat the Hornets and the Pelicans. But when you set up a competition, Oklahoma City did not go well. The Hawks have been an up-and-down team. And then you set up to face the Bucks and you lose, you wouldn't be feeling great going into next week. So big game for the Lakers. Hopefully that they can kind of change the whole narrative of the road trip with this win. I don't know who has a rest advantage because both played on Friday night. Now, the good thing for the Lakers, the Bucks went into overtime. So they actually had to play their guys a little bit longer. But kind of getting my next point, should the Lakers have run it up in the NBA Cup? The numbers, Allen got into this on his postgame show. It's kind of funny that Luka played 40 minutes. So a lot of the Lakers starters, despite the fact that the Lakers have a 14-point victory, played some heavy minutes tonight. It was an odd game because every time that it felt like the Lakers were pulling away in the first quarter, it was a blowout. In the NBA, when you get early leads, it feels like they always kind of dissipate. In the third quarter, though, when it opened up to a 20-point lead, kind of felt like that one was going to hold. And then at the end of the third quarter, early fourth, kind of felt them working their way back into the game. Then it got down to 8 where the Lakers starters had to finish the game. It was an interesting question that JJ was asked post-game because it is the NBA Cup. And I'm curious from you guys in the comments what you think. You know, some people don't care at all. Some people are for it. I'm kind of falling in the middle. I think it's cool the NBA is trying something, especially in the midseason tournament. I think the Vegas aspect of it, that it's a tournament style once the tournament teams get there, is very cool, kind of a March Madness looking thing. But obviously, I'd rather have the Lakers win and be ready for their next game than win an NBA Cup game in the point differential, which distinguishes where you are in the NBA Cup standings with how bad you beat a team. So it's funny if the NBA Cup, like right now, the NBA Cup has kind of been a sideshow thing. if the NBA Cup, let's just say for sake of argument, 10 years from now becomes a thing where winning an NBA Cup really means something outside of the fact that it's cool and you get to hang a little banner, where people actually judge how seasons go by or coaching jobs by how many obviously titles they win, but to a lesser degree, how many NBA Cup titles they win. You wonder if this becomes a thing. You wonder if teams really go out in this game and try to run up the point differential. And do you see different strategies from different organizations? An organization like the Lakers, who's won a lot of titles, or the Celtics, or the Bulls, not recently, but the Bulls and teams like that probably care about an NBA Cup a little bit less and are just worried about winning the next game? Or do you have your team like the Charlotte Hornets or the New Orleans Pelicans, who winning an NBA Cup is probably a pretty big deal to them, considering they haven't been hosting titles recently or ever? So I just wonder if this is going to be a storyline going forward of, are coaches really trying to put their foot on the gas in these games, or is it just treated as another game and you hope you win by a lot? Because the Lakers NBA Cup group is not great. The Clippers are the only other team that looks like a real threat in the division. But if you don't care about the NBA Cup, I would rather have the Lakers be rested, not have a good point differential, and win a Milwaukee on Saturday than run up the point differential and be good for the NBA Cup and get blown out on Saturday. I think we all would as Laker fans. I'm just curious how that kind of affects it going forward. Does that get taken into account a little bit as the NBA Cup kind of grows? I think it's a storyline to watch. But we'll see if the Lakers come out with a lot of energy on Saturday night. That's what I'm looking for. They came out a little flat against the Pelicans, then really kind of got it together. We'll see if to close out this road trip, they take this game seriously, or is this, hey, we can't wait to get home, and you kind of pack it in. This is an important game. I'm excited for this game. Hopefully the Lakers are getting a big W Saturday night. Alan will get you guys on the post-game show, and I'll be back with a preview for the next game this season. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you for listening, and go Lakers.